Hello and welcome back to another podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV with myself, Max.
And me, Sam.
And tonight we're joined by guest Pete the Potter. Pete, you're making your second appearance. Thanks for coming on. Now, before
Well,
we start the show, I believe there's something you wanted to just point out. Isn't that correct? So
yeah,
congratulations to someone.
yeah, absolutely. But thanks for having me back. I didn't after my first performance. I didn't think you'd have me back. And also, where's Sam Cam? Sam, where are you? I need
Sam
you.
Cam.
Are you down
Sam
there?
Cam. We'll get him on the next one.
We'll get him on again. Yeah. Well, I listened to Praise and Grumble and other messages from other sites and stuff, and Becky Taylor is one of Stoke's biggest fans. I believe she was fan of the year recently as well, and she's such in love with the club that I believe the club have given her a position which is the Her Game 2 ambassador for Stoke City, and it's a really important role for encouraging more women, yes, to play the game, but also to come and watch the game. And I read this on X the other day, sent her a quick message, and I think it would be nice to just to say congratulations
Absolutely. No,
from the three of us
big
as well.
congratulations. Big congratulations. We'll try and get,
Becky.
we'll try and get on the show. We'll try and get on the show.
Oh, that'd be amazing. Yeah, she'd be brilliant. Yeah, the show would have to go for an hour and a half though if Becky
Hey, we'll get the note. Hey,
yeah.
this is called Stoke Fan TV. We can't be without the fan of the year. So yeah, if she's listening, get in touch with us or get in touch with any of us, and we'll try and get you on the show. Yeah, absolutely. But thanks, both Pete and Sam for joining us on this show. If you're watching on YouTube, give us a subscribe if you would. We're getting an awful lot of people watching, but we're not getting loads of subscriptions. So we'd really, really appreciate if you just go away and subscribe to the channel, like the video as well whilst you're there, if you could, because we don't get anything for it. So that's all we can ask for. But much appreciated, all those listening on Spotify as well. Give us a follow. And without further ado, we'll crack on with tonight's show. So tonight's show, comes on a day after Stoke got beat 2-0 away at Bristol. And it also comes on a day that they've parted ways with their head of recruitment after half a season. I think we'll start with the latter. I think we'll start with the dismissal, or is it a dismissal? I don't know. We'll start with the split up of our head of recruitment. Who wants to kickstart this one? Because I don't know an awful lot about it. I just know that he's been here for 6 months and now he's gone. Anyone know?
What was interesting from my point of view is reading all the messages coming on and all these groups, Facebook groups, your group, was a couple of things. One, it was we haven't heard from him for ages. Now that doesn't mean he's not been doing good work in the background, but when people don't come out and talk about and communicate better with the fans, then obviously that causes resentment. But also, is he a scapegoat? And I suppose that's we could call this this evening's show. Lee Darnborough is he a scapegoat? And that's really divided the fans on the stuff I've read tonight and late last night, I think it was as well. Was he a scapegoat for bigger problems elsewhere, further at the top of the pyramid, or did he just bring in the wrong people? Personally, not too impressed with who he's brought in. But have they been played in the right position? I don't know.
Well, there's a question for you. He's been there since June 2024. So he's brought in some lads in the summer. Couple of interesting points Pete's made there, Sam. What do you think? What do you think? Obviously, he's gone. The players he brought in, did he? He's brought in. He was responsible for bringing in, or he's oversaw the players coming in like Seko, for example, and Cannon on loan, who's responsible for 11 goals this season. Without him, we'd have been in some real problems. Sam, what do you think?
I'd like to say that I'm surprised it's happened, but I'm not really. The circus show continues, doesn't it, at the upper management of Stoke City Football Club? I don't know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen next week. You don't know what's going to happen at Stoke nowadays, and it just doesn't come as a surprise anymore because it's just becoming laughable, really. You
Yeah,
just laugh it off, and what's next?
I think quite a lot of
Do you think he's
fans.
been pushed? Do you think he's been pushed, or do you think he's walked?
I reckon he's probably walked. Because
Right.
he's
Yeah,
probably come in as head of recruitment. He's probably wanted to sign a few players in this January transfer window. The board have told him that he can't because he can't afford it. And he's, oh, sod this, and I'm going.
yeah. Until I suppose until we find out whether he walked or was pushed, we can't really comment. Having said that, will Robbins have now, as he gets to know his players, be looking, thinking, whoever brought these guys in, I don't want them bringing any more in. And then he's then said to the bigger, the guys at the top, what we've this guy's brought in the last 6 months is not good enough. I don't want him to bring in any more. So it could be that, but if he's walked, he's walked. So will they communicate that to the fans? I don't know.
I heard the whisper train as well, which you mentioned there, Pete. Obviously, the whisper train being is he some sort of scapegoat? That seems to be a bit of a whisper going around, or well, I say whisper, it's probably
Yeah,
more of a
yeah.
shout, to be honest, on the various social media platforms. Is that really fair to Walters? I know Walters is getting a lot of flack, And yes, okay, I don't agree. I didn't agree with his decision to get rid of Schumacher, and I think it was
Mm.
unjust. But as is a man not allowed to make a mistake? Does he? Is he? What?
Yeah,
What do we
and,
think?
and and ultimately the buck stops with the surely with the players, and with the managers. Obviously, we've had, and any club that has the minimum three managers in a season, they're going to be in trouble. Successful teams don't have three managers in a season. As
Not
obvious as
usually.
obvious as it sounds,
Sometimes
they don't.
Chelsea do.
Yeah, oh, that's true. But they chuck serious money on it. But so it's just again, like Sam said, it's just reeks of instability and confusion. And we know what happens to clubs and teams where that happens. And also when players are played in the wrong position, i.e., second last night. I'm
Oh,
sure
we'll
we'll,
get
I'm
onto
sure
that,
we'll
mate.
talk
Oh,
about that later.
oh, we'll get onto that in a minute.
But
Honestly, we'll get
I
onto that.
wish him, wish Lee Darnborough all the best. On to the next one. I wonder who the next one's going to be.
Well, do we think he did well? Um, Sam, do you think he actually did well when he was here? So you said you're kind of not surprised that he's gone, and this is a bit of a circus, yada yada yada. But do you think he was a good head of recruitment, Sam?
Um, we've signed, I'd definitely say two decent players in
Who's that
Victor
then?
Johansson
Hmm.
and Sacco's a good player as well. And they're the permanent signings. I'm not really bothered about the loan signings. I don't really think we can really count the loan signings towards anything that he's done, really.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah, absolutely fair point. So
Do you not think that though, chaps? Because obviously loan players that come in, they still have to be recruited. And when he was at Hull, I know he was responsible at Hull for getting, I think it was back, I think he got something like 40 odd players in for Hull during his tenure there. And one of them was the striker from Liverpool. Was it Wilson? I don't know. I can't remember. And he got him
yeah,
in on loan and he bagged him like 7 goals in the season. At the time, I remember he kept them. I can't remember what the lad's name is, but he kept them in the league. But he brought, if he brought in Cannon, right now, where would Stoke be without Tom Cannon's goals this season? I know we're in and amongst it. We're in that nice meat grinder, aren't we, at the bottom of the table? But if we didn't have Cannon, where would we actually be?
yeah,
You're like, would we be sat at the bottom of the table? And
yeah.
and, and therefore, does that mean that Darnborough
Mm,
Lee has said, does that mean that he deserves credit? And we're actually like,
mm.
he shouldn't have gone. Hmm.
Sorry, I
Are we a
don't
bit
think anyone
disappointed?
deserves credit. I don't think anyone deserves credit for sitting 3 points away from the relegation zone,
What about
regardless of
that,
what
Sam?
position they are in the club, to be honest.
I'm not on about that. I'm on about deserving credit for us not being bottom of the table based on the fact that we didn't bring in players, or if we had, because if we hadn't have brought in Cannon, if we hadn't have brought in Johansson, where would we be?
Mm. I suppose it depends who another head of recruitment who they would have brought in. I suppose, but I like everybody, like Robbins during the over Christmas, his hands are tied, and if he can, the fact that he could only bring in two when every single club around us are bringing in a lot more and a lot more quality, possibly suggests that his hands were tied. Maybe they've told him there's not going to be a lot of money to be spent in the summer, and he's probably thought, well, you brought me here to buy players, and I can't buy them, so maybe he has gone. But I don't know. I'm
Maybe
thinking more scapegoat, but I don't know. I don't know.
maybe it'll come out in the wash. Maybe we'll find out.
Boy.
But do you know what? I don't know if we will, because we still haven't really found out what happened with Schumacher, have we? And I don't think we will. So
no, that'll be written in the small print that it won't come out. I don't think.
I mean, you look at the players that Stoke have recruited since relegation. I think we've had something like, is it 4 heads of recruitment, maybe? 4 or 5
So,
since 2018, 19?
yeah, I would think so.
That's not great, is it really? It feels like rinse, repeat, rinse, repeat. Oh, we've got so and so coming in. Have you heard? I've heard that he can sign the next Spanish wonder kid. This person.
Yeah. I know times have changed, but in the 80s, the 90s, even the 2000s, did they have heads of recruitment, or was Alex Ferguson on the phone making these deals in his office? And maybe I'm a bit old fashioned like that, but I still think it's the manager's job. But that is old fashioned. But having ran football teams for 30 years, these are my coaching manuals that I'm going to send this.
I like them, mate.
This to Ben Gibson. At the end of the day, it's how to pass.
No,
how to
I think you need it. I think you'll need a bigger book.
Oh, that's true. If Robbins wants a player, surely he can. He knows a player wants a player. Surely it's up to Robbins to go and sort it out. But maybe he's too busy doing other stuff. But
we've had some youth come in. We've had some youth recruited. Yeah. Are we thinking? Are we thinking then? I think if you look at the lads that have come in for youth wise, that's quite refreshing. I think. Sam, what do you think? We've got youth players coming through now. Are we thinking bolstering? It's nice to think that we may be bolstering a bit for the future. I know that we're the first team players, a lot of them lacking, but I'm trying to see some positive.
Yeah, we've made a few young player signings, haven't we, that are decent. And there's some decent players that are coming through that we already had before, but I'd like to see get in the team more, especially as Pete's just mentioned, Ben Gibson. Where's Jaden Dixon? Why has Jaden Dixon not been playing? Because he was playing at centre-half at the start of the season as like a cover when we were short. And then we're playing Ben Gibson and Michael Rose, and Michael Rose was just as bad.
Well, I think it's right time we move on to the game from last night. Let's just park it there then. Let's say to our, now ex-head of recruitment, good luck wherever you're going next. And I don't know who we're going to bring in. I don't know what the grand plan is. And right now, at this moment in the season, should it be high up the list of priorities? Not in my opinion, because we can't bring anyone in at the minute, can we? So I think we need to focus on the pitch. On the pitch. Right, so over to last night's performance. I'm sure we've all got a bit to say about it. Pete, I'll start with you. I'll start with you, Pete. Go on. What was your thoughts on
like most fans, you get a ping on your phone with the team, and my heart sank. Not because Lowe was up front, not because Berger was in the middle, but when I saw that defence, I just thought, that's it. We're cream crackered. So even before the game, I had this sneaky feeling that we were going to get done down the wing, and I texted one of my sons and said, we've had it down the left, and I'm probably texting one of you lot, I don't know, saying, we're cream cracker down the left, and lo and behold, what happened down the left? Absolute disaster.
Sacco,
An easy
goal, right wing back.
Yeah, exactly, an easy goal, and Secco in that position, I quite like Secco in front of the defence, in the sort of defensive midfield. I think he does pretty well there, and I think most fans probably would agree. But putting him in there,
player of the month at one point.
No idea what he was doing, and surely we've got a better solution than that. So, and also when I made a note when I obviously noticed that Kumas and Stevens weren't playing, especially Kumas, and I know he was in the FA Cup and all that, but he's only 18. He can run all day. When Kumas wasn't on the pitch, I thought we've had it, and it was no surprise. It was awful, absolutely awful. And
I have to agree with what, especially that bit about Secco. For context, say you didn't watch the game and or whatever, we played a 5-3-2, didn't we? A 5-3-2. I know a lot of fans are cheering at 2 up front. But we played a 5-3-2, but we did play Secco at right wing back. And after the game, listening to what Robin said, he mentioned one of the reasons for this was squad rotation and being, not wanting to play players too much, but to play a centre. I know Jordan Thompson, okay, centre mid, left back last season, arguably a better left back than he is centre mid, but we're playing to play Secco at right wing back. Yeah, I mean,
yeah. Sam, do you agree? I felt that he would. You could even argue that he was conceding the game in preparation for Swansea at home because that was so poor.
I saw the lineup before the game, and I completely agree. I thought the defence just looked shambolic, and I didn't actually manage to get to watch the full game because I was too busy to watch it, doing actually much better things by the sounds of it. And I watched the highlights, and I completely agree with everything you've said, Pete. It was like nothing. Victor Johansson made a couple of good saves. I have to give him a credit for that. I think Stoke had, what was it, 2 shots? Did we even have a shot on target?
We didn't have a shot. So I'll give you my quick rundown, Sam. So I quite like the fact that we played a 5-3-2. I like 5-3-2 formation. I think it's versatile. I think you don't get overloaded in the centre of the pitch. You can play with a single or double pivot. It gives you width. You can decide to be defensive or you can decide to go forward a bit more. And you can play 2 up top. And I like that. But the problem is, the last night, there was 2 things. I think he was let down by individual performances. I think Rose had a stinker. I think we're indebted to Johansson, obviously, for keeping us in the game at times. I think that we shouldn't have played Secco at right wing back because Secco is not a right wing back. If he should have played Chamadou, the goals we conceded. The first goal was, like as good as Wilson Esbrand is going forward, he's switching off defensively. So that ball goes just it's simple ball through. The ball comes in, and what Rose is doing, I don't know who Rose is marking. I think Rose was marking Berger. I mean, like, what are you doing in the middle? Head up, stop ball watching. The second goal that came in, if you watch, I can't remember the name of their player who scored, begins with M. If you watch him and you watch that back, just watch what Chamadou's doing. He's just looking at the ball. He just runs past Chamadou, and Chamadou's like, oh, there you go. Oh, back of the net. It's defensively, we look poor. There were times during that game. I didn't think, contrary to what everything's happened on social media, because look, wake up this morning, see social media, I thought somebody died. But literally, like, it's not that. I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think we were bullied out the game for the whole game. I didn't think they absolutely dominated us. In fact, I think we had moments where we actually looked decent. But Did Lowe and Ali work last night? No. I think they're two very similar strikers. I don't think they've got much pace between them. And when it got to 70 minutes and we're 1-0 down, I'm thinking, got to bring Kumas on here and put him up top and get him running in behind and get a bit of pace up top because they've just had the same all game, that back four. They've just had the
Something
same. Now
different.
get him on, get him up top. And he switches it to a 4-4-2. 70 minutes or so. And then they're just like, oh, happy days. We've just got loads of room now. We're just going to start pinging it around. You know, there's not as much pressure on. We didn't even switch to 4-4-2. We switched to 4-4-1-1. So we've gone from that to actually we're not having two strikers up front. So we're going to bring Kumas on, put him on one wing, fine. Bejanot's a shadow of himself from last season on the other wing. And that was it then. I thought that was the game over. So I think it was a mix of bad individual performances and some bad tactics as well, to be honest, from the gaffer.
Yeah. No wing play. Didn't see any decent crosses.
Which is weird, because the game before, right, against Hull, not the FA Cup. I'm pushing it back. The Hull game, we played a similar system. Granted, we had Stevens, I think, in that back three, and then Esbrand on the left, and I think Chamadou on the right. But the ball was ending up in the box a heck of a lot more in that game. Not saying the crosses were particularly good. I'm not saying we're particularly good at crossing, but the ball was going in more often than not.
In the danger zone. I think
we only saw maybe one cross, and that was from Wilson Esbrand, which Baker put marginally wide last night.
And he sort of scuffed it a bit, and it's almost easier to put it between the posts, not to by the side of the posts. But as I'm sure Sam would agree, nothing that happens on the pitch at the moment with Stoke surprises us. It just makes me hope that some decent players who are injured come back soon. My concern, I don't know whether that's something we're going to quickly talk about, but my concern is Miljan Manhoff. Will he come back fit, as in physically fit? When any of us get injuries in any sport that we do, we might have a few more biscuits than we normally have. Will he come back a little bit? Because he's got that build of, muscle can quite easily turn to fat. So will he come back firing, or will he come back waddling? That's what I want to know. I just hope it's the former. So we just need a few players back. One more player. He was only on for a few minutes. Ben Pearson. He did one little thing where he just got the ball, shrugged off a player, and then put a lovely sort of through ball. And I just thought, God, we need him back. I mean, you might not agree with me, but I'm in the bring Ben Pearson club back.
Sam, what do you think? Would you play Pearson if he's fit?
Yeah, but if he doesn't start getting silly red cards all the time, yeah, happily.
Yeah, that's the only thing that puts me off Pearson, to be fair. I think there was some times where he showed a lack of temperament and he needs to just concentrate. Do you know what?
Controlled aggression.
Do you know what? It's
Controlled
not just
aggression.
Pearson when it comes to concentration. This whole Stoke team, they need to concentrate more during the game. You got 90 minutes, lads. 90 minutes plus. And I know this is high-level football. Don't get me wrong, but you've got 90 minutes to concentrate and think, I'm not going to stare at the ball here. What do you think, Sam? What do you think to all of this? I mean, Pete and I have just been having a right good convo about it. What do you reckon?
No, I completely agree. Concentration is something that Stoke have been lacking for a while, and then we have these moments like at the end of last season when all of a sudden we'll have a 6-7 game spell of it all being really good, and then it will just go bad again, and it's just like a never-ending circle of like good for a bit, and then we're absolutely dreadful, and then we're good again for a bit, and then we're dreadful again, and then someone gets sacked, and then we're back to square one again, and then somebody else gets sacked.
As soon as somebody gets sacked, our views go up. So, we can't...
You know what? What's interesting is there was a stat last night that I can't remember the exact numbers, but Bristol have used something like 14, 15 players all season, and we've used something like 32. this season. And again, I'm a little bit older than you two. I remember the Liverpool team of the 70s and 80s who used 13, 14 players, on bad pitches. And I just crave a team, a Stoke team that has a solid squad and maybe 13, 14 regulars with, yes, bringing some in to help in cups and stuff. But that's not happening, is it? And until that happens, we're going nowhere.
Be nice, if that squad rotation was for purpose, like you mentioned Liverpool, like the Liverpool of of today, where they bring in a fresh right back and is as good as the right back that's on the pitch.
Yeah. We could name.
Stoke
I could name the Liverpool starting 13.
Yeah.
But at the moment, I couldn't name the Stoke starting 13, and that's other than the fact that it's we're not very good at the moment. But I think it's a problem. Again, call me old-fashioned, but I still think a solid team where the players know where they are is the way forward. Next 14, 15 games or whatever we've got.
Yeah. Well, chaps, I think we're coming up to the end of our show. Thank you both for coming on and having a good old chinwag. I do like it. Yeah.
For you, Ben.
For context, Ben. Those listening on Spotify, Pete's holding up a book every now and then. It's youth coaching and football 101.
Yeah. There you go. So I've used this. So Ben, if you turn to page 33 and go to the How to Defend Properly page, then
yeah, I was going to say, mate, I think you need a bigger book. Some of our defending, how to defend crosses. That's been all season, hasn't it? Right, okay, all right, chaps. Honestly, thanks so much. We'll try and do the thing we usually do. So it's goodbye from me.
It's a goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from Pete the Potter.
Oh, yes. Look at that. That's how we do it. That's how we roll. We're getting better and better. If you're watching on YouTube, don't forget, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Give us a follow on Spotify as well. You can listen to it anytime now, can't you? On your travels to the Bet365 and etc. etc. So thanks all for joining me. And we will see you all on the next podcast episode of Stoke Fan TV.
Come on, Stoke.